Poland, founder of Creating the New World. Somewhere between the doom and gloom world of our worst nightmares and the utopia of our deepest dreams and highest aspirations as human beings lies a body of work we've got to do together. And I know this sounds a bit crazy, but I know what that body of work is, and I want to empower us to do it. And no, I haven't been smoking anything. See, several years ago, after a long and successful career in organization development and systems change, an alarm went off inside of me. And it said, wake up, that there was something important to do. And so I walked out of my career at that time and into my life's work. At the time, I only had the basic outlines of what that something was, but it felt huge, important, and deeply meaningful, not only to me personally, but to humanity. I knew from my work and from what I was seeing out in the world that the way things are structured and the way we're living is actually destroying people and planet at a rate and scale that is simply not conducive to sustaining human life. I could see that each systemic challenge we face, whether it's economic, environmental, political, or social, that they're actually inseparable from one another. So I knew that fundamental change would have to happen on a global scale with all parts of the system working together. And yet, I recognized that no one person, organization, sector, or even government alone could bring about the kind of systemic change we need. And I certainly knew that our existing institutions that we've been relying upon all our lives were simply not capable of taking us forward. And I've heard so many inspiring calls for change, and I've become aware of so many wonderful people doing so many wonderful things in service to a brighter future. So I know we're ready as a human family to write the next chapter for ourselves. People everywhere are waking up, coming together, and expressing their desire for a better world. And yet, the single biggest obstacle to creating a world that can sustain human life and support a thriving new humanity is mobilizing the hearts, minds, and efforts of people and organizations everywhere to work coherently toward a common goal. Among us, we have the reason, we have the vision, we have the power, and we have the technology to create this amazing new world, but we've not had a way to translate all that into a coherent global action movement. No way of moving forward together, and yet that's the only way we're going to get this done. So my life's work became designing a way to overcome this obstacle and to create a whole new world together. But the truth is that I was really just called into something much larger than myself, and it simply took over. I mean, here I was, an ordinary gal with no bestsellers or political affiliations or even ambitions, no religious associations, rich uncles, or offshore bank accounts, and I was being propelled into this insanely big mother-of-all systems change project. And I knew I was wired to see whole systems and connections between seemingly separate things. And I had a couple of decades experience in helping human systems tap into their own wisdom and power to create and realize their vision. But it's not like I ever said, gee, I want to help create a whole new world. So to me, this calling felt like either a big cosmic joke or actually the whole point. I mean, the new world won't be created by the elite with policy in the halls of power. It'll be created by ordinary people like us with passion in the heart of community. As a result of my hanging on for dear life as this thing emerged from me, I've created a viable, community-based way to empower we the people to literally create a world that reflects our deepest truths and highest aspirations as human beings. I call it the architecture for creating the new world. And I want to share it. I want to engage people in it. I want to empower communities with it. Ultimately, I want to put the whole world to work, creating a world where everyone thrives. That's where this Indiegogo campaign comes in. This campaign will fund 4 community workshops that will introduce creating the new world and inspire people with a viable way to transform our lives, communities, and world all at the same time. But it's not just about funding workshops. It's about igniting a global world-building movement with the spark produced right here in this Indiegogo space. By pooling the resources of the many in service to the whole, these workshops will not only inspire and rejuvenate the communities where they're held, they'll also call forth and empower people as world builders to truly mobilize a grassroots movement in a truly grassroots way. Now here's the really cool part. We don't want to arbitrarily decide where to offer these first workshops, or decide in our infinite wisdom that we know better than the people in the community about what is of value to them. We want to bring the workshops to communities where they're most wanted, where they're most needed, as determined not by us, but by the people actually living in them. We want to go where the energy for renewal, rejuvenation, or rebuilding is. And so, for this campaign, you get to decide where the workshops are held. By claiming a perk, you get to vote in your community or a community you want to help empower. It's just a matter of putting your zip code in. So we'll keep you posted with updates as things progress. We'll let you know where the workshop locations are, and when this campaign is over, of course, we'll provide you with all the registration information and other logistics once it all shakes out. Even if your community isn't one of the workshop locations, you can still come to it. Your tuition will have already been paid up front, so all you'll need to do is get there. If we're successful here, together, as contributors and as creating the new world, in modeling that we can crowd support the introduction to this world building movement, it means we could do the same for the entire world building process that it represents. That we could, in fact, engage all of humanity in funding and doing the work of creating our own bright future together. I've invested every cell of my body and all of the resources at my disposal to bring it to this point. Now it simply needs to get out in the world so we can take it forward together. With your help, we can get this whole world building party started. Please share this campaign far and wide, because our children and our grandchildren are counting on us. Thanks for watching.